All right, so the first thing you're going to do in the new environment, BlueJ, is open it up. It's just BlueJ letter, so you can do a quick search for that, or if it's on your toolbar, it'll be a little picture of a BlueJ bird head. And when you come into the program, it will be blank like this. You won't have anything that you can click on, type in. It just doesn't let you do anything at all. So what you'll need to do is go up to the project window, or menu, excuse me, and create a new project, or open one if you've already got one created. I'm going to call this my sort routine, and make sure that this is someplace where you can find it again. Mine is set in my home folder, my documents folder, and then the Java coding folder. Wherever you put it, just make sure you can find it again later. Now I have a window I can interact with. There's something in here. If I click on this, I find it's a README file that I can fill in information for. Not so interesting for me right now, maybe later. I'm going to create a new class so that I can put in some code. Now you'll notice there are a whole lot of choices for what kind of class you create. We're going to ignore those. In almost every case, the plain class is just fine for what we're doing. Again, this is my sort routine. And now I have a class in which I can code. So I'm going to double click, and now I have a whole lot of sample code in a coding editor. It's automatically indented sections for me here, and I notice down here it says put your code here. A whole lot of this is extraneous. It's extra stuff that we don't need. So I'm going to delete a bunch of it. And the comment is just filling up space right now. Later on, that would be very important to add. Now, I have something here that says public integer sample method integer y. If you remember when we were doing our coding bat, this tells me several things about what I'm writing. The green wrap tells me that I'm writing a public class called sort routine. In BlueJ, it's always the case that you have to create a class in order to do anything at all. This is part of object-oriented programming, and it's just built into BlueJ itself. Inside that, I've created a method called sample method. This is where I would actually put my code. This method is expecting to return an integer value. It's expecting to receive an integer value, which it's going to assign to the variable called y, and it's a public method, which means that anything can call it. In our case, we're going to change a couple of these things. I don't need to return anything. I'm just writing a sample here, so I'm going to make this a void return, and I don't need to give my sample anything. Now I can put my code in. I'm going to just print out a quick message. So I tell the system to print out a line, and my message is going to be, this is the answer. Now, I'm done typing. I've got some buttons up here. You can undo, cut, copy, paste. Your shortcut keys, Command X, Command C, Command V, etc. will work just as well. And this compile button, compile now tells me down here at the bottom, the class is compiled, no syntax errors. Great. So how do I run this now? Let's see. There's no run command. You can look through the whole interface. You can spend hours looking for it. There's no run command to tell it to do something. There's two ways things get run inside of BlueJ. If you right-click on the sort routine, right now you'll notice you can create a new sort routine. This is going to create a new object of the sort routine class and ask you what you want to call it. I'll call it sorter1. And now I have a new object of this class that I've created called sort routine. This is a lot like creating clones in Scratch or creating additional sprites. This is now a sprite or a clone or a class. It's an object. And I now can get to my method and run it. There's a faster way though. If we go edit our code again and we just make this a static method, that means that this is in place. It can be run at any time. It does not necessarily have to have an object of this class type in order to run it. Now, if I right-click on sort routine, excuse me. Oh, I forgot to compile it. Compile it. Now, I can directly access my new method. And if I run that method, I get the terminal because that's where it prints things out. And here it gives me what I've asked for. This is the answer. So, you will need to go in, create a new project, create a new class, edit your class, and you will want to paste in the code from the Moodle page for the testing class that you're going to be building. I've just pasted it in here. What this does is create a class called tester that has a static method called main that's expecting an array of string arguments that's going to be called args, and it's going to return void or nothing. It's going to create another array having these numbers in it, and it's going to call a method called sort that must be defined elsewhere. It's going to sort that method using that array that it's just created. It's going to use the method to sort the array that it just created. What it's going to use is a short for loop, and then it's going to print out nothing at the end. We can have it print out the array, the original array, the changed array, whatever you want, in order to get some feedback. This line would be where you would create your feedback. What do you want to see this testing class give you back? I would suggest having it give you back the original, and then the sorted version might be useful. Your code is going to go here. This is where you put in the code for your method to sort. You're going to be expecting an array of integers. That array is going to be placed in a variable called a. You're not going to be returning anything. I hope this makes sense. If you have questions, let me know, and we'll talk through it in detail one-on-one.